today I'm just going to be doing a simple, really simple one-layer card using the sister stamp Mieko. It's one of my newest sister stamps I had in my most recent craft haul video, and I'm really happy that I'm able to go ahead and use it today. Now, as you see here, it's this Mieko. She's eating mochi. It's a really cute stamp. I also bought the boy one, but also as you see here, the sister stamps do come on either squares or rectangles, so you do have to take a really sharp pair of scissors and go ahead and trim it out yourself. Now, I usually go ahead and for all my ones that I'm using, I do trim them out, because if you don't, the edges of your stamp, when you ink it up, it will stamp the edges. So as long as you go ahead and cut the edges off, it'll be okay, but I just decided to trim around the whole entire image. So I'm going ahead, I inked it up in Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it onto some Simon Says Stamp 110-pound cardstock, white cardstock. The Simon Says Stamp cardstock seems to be the only cardstock that I can find that the Copic markers do not bleed through to the inside of the card. So I really like using it for any of my Copic marker coloring or Spectrum Noir coloring, and it seems to work really well for me. So I'm going to go ahead here and take my Spectrum Noir and FS3, and I'm going to go ahead and color in the whole entire skin, and go ahead and color it all the way on all the different skin areas. Now also with that same FS3, I went ahead and did 2 layers of color first, and then as you see here, I'm going ahead and doing a little bit of shading toward the top of the girl's head. Now also, as you see here, I'm taking FS6, which is really pretty much a pink, so I'm going to go ahead and I use that for my blush, and it seems to work out really well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start getting onto the rest of the coloring of her coloring. So again, I'm using Simon Says Stamp 110-pound cardstock. I really like it. It's really thick, and you can even use it for your regular coloring, or meaning your regular card making, if you like the really nice thickness. I would use it for all my cards if I could. It's just that it is a little bit more expensive. So because of that reason, I only use it for these kind of more special Japanese cards. So that's what I usually use it for. And also sometimes I'll use it for die cutting sometimes. But anyway, as you see here, I used BP3 and I went over the entire image, and then I used BP4 to go ahead and do the shading. Then I went with BP3 and did the entire image again to try to blend that color out. And then now I'm going ahead with BP3 again and blending it out, that BP4, even more. So you do have to do layers of color like that. I did 3 layers of BP3 just so that I could get the really nice blending. But certain colors will blend easier than others, so you just have to see. Now here with BP7, it's a lot darker, and I'm going ahead and I'm just coloring that out with just coloring it onto the other parts of the Japanese girl, like her hairband and stuff. And then I'm going ahead, I actually use that BP7 to go ahead and shade with that same color as well. And now this is TB1 and then CG3, and I'm doing the same thing, using that same color to do the shading. Those are with those little cute mochi balls. Now as you see here, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the hair. Now for beginners, the easiest way of doing the hair is to start off with a light color. So if you want to start off, like this is C3, it's definitely visible, but at the same time, it doesn't give a really big impact onto the card, because of course you're going to be doing a lot more layering on the color. So if you're a beginner and you want to get the really nice depth of the hair that a usual image will give, you do want to go ahead and try to use a lighter color first, and then that'll be a guide for your darker color. But usually I don't do that now, so I'm just showing you in the video. Now as you see here, I'm using 100, which is black. This is Copic markers. I usually use Spectrum Noirs for most of any of my coloring or colors or different things. I even have, like, I have the black of Spectrum Noir. The only thing is I did not purchase the brush tips yet, so I'm using my old Copic markers to fill in the spaces with the hair especially. So I do my hair browns and my blacks with Copic markers still. Because plus I have, some of them I have the refills, and I just decided that this sometimes is a little bit easier with the Copic markers since I already have them. Now as you see here, I'm just doing the flickering. It's with the black, and then I go ahead and use N8, which is a nice neutral gray. It's a really nice gray, and you can go ahead and try to kind of just blend out that black a little bit more using the N8. And then the trick of doing hair is you're gonna do these small flickering motions, but you do want to hold the Copic marker definitely toward the very bottom of the marker, meaning that the bottom where it's not the, anyway, where the cap comes off, that's where you want to hold your marker. And that's what will give you the nice flickering techniques. If you go ahead and see Christina Warner's video, she does that same thing. So you just want to hold low on the marker, and you can get these really nice flickering techniques, and it'll give a really nice look to your hair. So I went ahead and did both sides again using that 100, the black, then N8, and then at the end I go ahead and use C3, which is a nice cool gray, and I go ahead and do some more flickering to make it not stand out so much, the white, and make it a little bit more blended and more layered looking with the C3. Sometimes I go with the Spectrum Noir as well, because as long as it's a lighter color, you won't really see those really flickering marks. Anyway, now for the hair, I went ahead and used N8 on the top and then on the whole entire part, and then I'm flickering out the 100, and then I'm going to go ahead and use N8 again and blend out the 100, just so that it gives a kind of nice blending and a really nice look to these little pigtails. Now also, happily there, when I dropped my marker, happily none of the marker touched my paper, so it was a really happy moment. And then as you see here, I'm just finishing it up, and then this is pretty much my finished colored image. I think it turned out pretty nice, and I'm gonna go ahead and continue getting with the card. So the next thing that I'm doing is I take out my BGR1, and that's a really nice light gray, and I go ahead and I just do a shadow to her. And it seems to, I like this color to do some nice shadows. Now every image, is gonna have, you're gonna have to try to make the shadow a little bit different for every image. Now with this particular image, you can also decide if you're gonna want to do the shadow if the sun's on the left or the sun's on the right, or you can decide all those different things. For this particular image, I decided that, and most of these one layer cards, to make it look a little bit more evened and a little bit more, I think, just a little bit nicer, I usually do the shading or the shadows straight directly down, like the sun is directly above her, and that really makes it look a little bit more, it looks a little bit more even. It's like a mound that she's standing on. So I think that kind of looks nice, and I really like how that turns out. And then again, as you saw, I use CO, which is a really light Copic marker, to just do that a little bit lighter shading around the edges of the shadow. Now the first thing that I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take out, I die cut a lot of these red hearts. I just go ahead and use my red Copic marker or my red Spectrum Noir, and then go ahead and scribble it onto some white cardstock, and then I go ahead and use my Lawn Fawn. This is from the Stitch Journaling card die set. I use the hearts, and I go ahead and die cut a lot of those hearts out of the red cardstock. You can just use red cardstock too if you don't want to go ahead and color it. And then you can go ahead and I just adhere them onto my card for a little bit more interest onto these very simple cards. Now it is something that it's going to make it look a little more whimsical, so you might or might not want to use this heart, so it's up to you. And I just think it gives a little bit extra touch. Now I like to use these Pentel. This is the medium gel pen in the silver, and I kind of like these a lot. I have the gold as well as the white. Now, the good thing about these is they glide really easily. So when you're doing these little dashes, it's really easy to get a really nice look on those dash lines. Now, it's not something that you have to go over twice. I know a lot of other pens, because of their properties, you have to go back and forth when you're doing dashes, and I just don't like those type of pens. I like this one that's easy to just glide over, and you can do these really fast dash lines. Now, as you saw on the heart, I just went ahead and used some Wink Stella in the clear, and I just went over the heart as well as some different parts over the girl. And then I took, this is my glossy accents, and I'm going ahead and putting that over this red heart, and that just makes it have a little bit more dimension, and it gives that really nice clear raised look. And then as you see here, I just folded my card. I'm taking out my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, and I like using it for that little corner rounding edge. Now, this is super thick cardstock, so you might have to do the one layer at a time and not do both layers. And then I think this turned out as a really nice, clean and simple, this is a blank card, no sentiment, and I thought it turned out pretty nice. So I like doing this technique with all of my sister stamps. Mostly I do them all these one layer cards. Certain ones I do other techniques, but I thought it turned out really nice. So please, if you like this video, please comment and leave your comments below. If you want to see any of my other card projects, please visit my blog, and I have the link below. And thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.